for it to come up. Should be up in a second. Let's see. Yes.
It's live.
Yeah, it's live. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. It's the 17th of April. We're back again with a very special episode of the Weekly Vol. This time, I'm very, very delighted to announce Nick from Defined, who is joining us today, or I should say, from Defined / Codex, both actually. We were just talking about this before. Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say, awesome to have you on the show today. We're going to be talking about all things markets. Whatever the audience wants to talk about as well as yourself, we can dictate it as we go along. But yeah, we'll talk about kind of what's been going on in crypto markets and some of the things that are interesting to us anyway nowadays. So yeah, first of all, thanks for coming, Nick. How are you doing? How's it going? And how's your time in crypto been over the last kind of month or so with the way that markets have been?
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, guys. I didn't want to do the classic like, oh, awesome here. Thanks for having me on that it says when they jump on a podcast. But I think I got to do it anyways.
That's why I asked you the question
yeah,
about markets as well with it.
I will. So obviously, like a really interesting time to jump on a podcast and talk about the markets. I think we've pretty much been in a downtrend now for the last, what is that? Since launches meme coin, we've pretty much straight down. So it's just been the most lovely time in crypto to, be in this industry. But, obviously builders build and we're still kicking, we're still pushing out products and, enjoying the market while we're here. And that's, chat and kind of see where this conversation goes. And yeah.
No, sounds good. And to my co-host Mo, how's things going on your side? How's the last week been? How are you doing as well?
Everything has been like pretty normal since last week, since we haven't seen that many changes in the market. Like we've been chopping around, but yeah, everything has almost the same price. So yeah, I'd say like I'm still the same as last week.
Do you want to talk us through firstly, like as we go into this, I know that you posted a few trades in one of the IVX channels about some of the things you were looking at with the news that we had yesterday, I believe. Maybe talk us through a little bit about kind of what's going on in the market since last week as well, and just a running commentary of kind of what's been happening. I think that would be
like
good.
So like as everybody knows, like Trump has been going insane with all these tariffs, and he's been going back to back with China, like raising tariffs to like 150%, and then to like 245%, and like the market has been pricing it like down. And then he announced that he's gonna delay the tariffs on like all the countries except China for like 90 days, which actually pumped the market from like 76 to like high mid 80s. Yeah, mid 80s, I think. And so yeah, from then we've been chopping around, and many people have been like anticipating an emergency rate cut after the massive liquidation in stocks and crypto. But as you know, like yesterday, Jerome Powell has been speaking, and he mentioned multiple stuff. One of them was that the economy is actually like better. It's not good, but it's like better than people are expecting. Like people are expecting something very bad, but in his opinion, it's only bad, not very bad. And he actually said that so far there won't be any like rate cuts during this year, like during the half of this year, but probably during the end of the year they'll cut the interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
Also, other than that, he mentioned that the effect of the tariffs hasn't even taken place, and like people are over exaggerating it. So personally, I do think like this is kind of a bull trap. I do expect like maybe a smaller dump to the downside and maybe even a bigger one. In my opinion, I'm favoring like maybe we get somewhere towards the low 70s or high 60s. But this is like over the course of the like next maybe 2-3 months.
Okay, and you think this purely because of kind of some of Jerome's Jerome Powell's comments about the fact that the tariffs haven't really come to effect yet, and so
Yeah.
the chances that the economy was in Jerome's Powell's terms is bad. It's not very bad yet. Maybe it could go to that stage. Is that your kind of thought process here?
Yeah, I do think like market actually priced in an emergency rate cut. So
Interesting.
I think when people realize that the Fed actually won't cut rates like early this year, and that tariffs will get worse, and probably China won't negotiate, because I think like China is a massive country and like one of the strongest economies, if not the strongest. So I don't think they'll throw the towel for the United States.
Interesting.
So
Nick, I'd love to like hear your thoughts as well. Firstly, like tell us a little bit about like your personal trading style. Like, how do you like to trade it? Are you someone who likes to long-term invest, trade short-term, scalp? What are you trading as well? And then also, like, what are your thoughts on kind of where we are in the grand market as a whole?
yeah, this is gonna be fun because I actually kind of disagree in a lot of ways of the
Oh, interesting.
downside, and then also with the importance of interest rates here. But I myself prefer just to, invest for the longer term. I'm not really a trader, but obviously within crypto, you have to be a trader in some shape or form, or you just get completely punished for holding long term on, specific alt assets, to be specific. But and then I dabble a little bit in, the trend series just due to the product that we're building at Define to, do some quote unquote product testing, aka lose money. But we have a lot of fun there, and yeah, but more or less, I'm just buying, holding. I think we're an asset class that benefits a lot from one technology advancements. The world's going in a direction that's more tech tomorrow than it is yesterday. Also, a lot of the world is now coming on chain, so we're getting a huge boost from that. And we've seen over the years that we're just essentially in one big liquidity bubble, essentially. And crypto has been pretty much the biggest beneficiary of that, as well as some technologies and whatnot. But in terms of what I think about what was said there, and then I listened to John Powell yesterday, and I don't know, like everyone was expecting emergency rate cut, but would that really save us right now? Like, I don't think that would really have done all that much. Maybe we've got like a short spike or something like that, because I don't think anyone really expected it. We did see kind of that quick like decline, essentially when he said pretty much like, no, like we're not going to inject liquidity into this market because it's going down, or no, we're not going to cut rates just because the market's going down. They obviously have things they're looking at that aren't just the market. But what I did find that he said was really interesting were two things. One was his like extremely positive stance on crypto and specifically stablecoins, and how they're going to be essentially more accepted in the ecosystem. And what it kind of sounded like is they're looking at stablecoins as a way to essentially keep the dollar the dominant currency, as well as injecting liquidity into international markets without, essentially a quantitative easing. Because we've seen over since COVID, essentially everyone knows now what printing is, what quantitative easing is, and they can't do it. It's an ugly thing, so they're going to have to find different ways to inject liquidity in the system. And kind of leads me to that second part, is where he started talking about international markets. I think he was asked something like, what do you think about FX or international markets or something along the lines, and he said, yes, we'll work with these people, and if they need dollars, we'll give them dollars. And what that essentially is it's liquidity injection. It's just not domesticated liquidity injection like we're used to. It's international liquidity injection, which I think is actually it's extremely positive for crypto. Maybe not as like sexy for our domestic markets in the US, because they're not getting like fresh liquidity. But as we've seen, Bitcoin and crypto it's an international asset. Anyone can buy it from around the world with whatever currency they want. Obviously, the US has a stronger currency, so they have more buying power in that asset. But we've seen bull runs in the past where there was absolutely no liquidity injection from the States, yet we had a massive bull run in 2017 just from China printing money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my stance now. Where we're at is we're going to have more of a like international M2 expansion, and that's going to greatly be like Bitcoin, which are one of the most easily accessible international assets now. Yes, we could chop around in the short term, but it looks like M2's seen a peak in June, 3-4 months or so. It's at an all-time with a 10-week lead. So I don't know. I'm not a short-term trader. I've been good at it. Like if you want to lose money in the short term, then definitely listen to me for that. But I think we have a little bit of. I think at the end of the year we might see some all-time highs. So definitely don't want to, kind of putting myself out there now with that. That I think we do eventually end higher, just national M2 going up.
Yeah, just to confirm, I'm not like bearish long term. I'm like bearish for like for the summer, but I do think all time highs and during that year.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I like both of your points as well. Really, kind of looking at both shorter term and longer term. I think for me as well, one thing that the last kind of few months has shown is that, or not even few months, last few weeks actually, is that Bitcoin is a lot more resilient than I think I actually anticipated. I think Bitcoin's actually had less volatility than equity markets, and I think that's kind of surprised me. We're really, I think it really goes to show that we are in this new era of Bitcoin where it is a little bit detached from the rest of the crypto market, and it does have this institution bid, this bid from countries or kind of global leaders as well. We're in a new era now, and I think a lot of comparisons are constantly made between Bitcoin and gold, and maybe Bitcoin and Nasdaq. Which one is it more similar to? I'd say in recent weeks it's actually been more like gold than Nasdaq per se. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see like where things are going to go. But I do think my personal bias, and again, no financial advice. My personal bias is, I'm leaning more towards, Bitcoin just going to continue to step upwards, and I do think that we will see, six-figure Bitcoin again sometime, perhaps this year. Mo, I think I even texted you saying, I actually bought some Bitcoin myself yesterday, and I'm looking to just keep adding because I think it's proven itself to be a resilient asset, to be like an asset that you can hold in kind of different market conditions as well. We're clearly not in a bull market condition. The chart tells you everything, right? But
Yeah.
you overlay Bitcoin across every other asset type. I'll give you an example right here. This is ETH BTC. I mean, this chart has just been down only. But of course, if I invert this, I mean, this just goes to show the strength of Bitcoin. It is just continuous.
Sure.
And this bottom is 2022. We're now in 2025. This is 3 years of continuous outperformance on an asset like Bitcoin. So yeah, I think Bitcoin is king. Bitcoin has been king, but Bitcoin really is king now, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I personally don't want to bet against it.
Yeah, I think we kind of live in our like CT crypto bubble, where unfortunately a lot of people actually don't hold Bitcoin, and we've just seen alts and especially Ethereum just get completely obliterated against Bitcoin, and that's why it really has felt as like gloomy as it is out there. Is people are just simply holding altcoins that have essentially trended to zero, except a couple, and then not a lot of people's portfolios in Bitcoin. So it can be really painful at this time of the cycle if that's the case. So could explain some of the sentiment.
We got a nice comment here from one of our great viewers as well. All yield rewards going to BTC now. Very, very good, good. I think it's a good time. Like, yeah, I completely agree with you. CT is often. I put myself in this bracket as well because I've been in this situation too, where I'm like completely alt exposed, or I really don't have much kind of exposure to assets like Bitcoin, thinking that I'm going to buy ETH and it's going to outperform BTC. ETH does this, and this, and this. I can use it in DeFi. I can do this. I can do that. But I mean, the markets are the markets, and I think they've proven everyone that Bitcoin is king.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. I more or less in the beginning of the bull market, held a lot of Bitcoin, still hold a good part of it in Bitcoin. But, I made the same thing where it's like, hey, like at this part of the cycle, Ethereum is supposed to outperform Bitcoin. And I think a lot of people got caught off guard with that trade this year because it's just been so brutal. But what we do need to understand is that Bitcoin is, driven by more macro features that involve liquidity and interest rates, fiscal and monetary policy, where like altcoins, and I'll put Ethereum in that category, are more driven by the business cycle when people have more liquidity in their pockets to buy these things up, where Bitcoin's more like a saving vehicle long term. So, and we haven't really seen the business cycle pick up yet, and Trump's just kind of screwing us. They're kicking the can down the road even more. So
yeah, absolutely. Mo, what are your thoughts on that? And how has that changed your portfolio construct as well? Have you been allocated more to Bitcoin, or have you been more stable heavy? Like what has been like your kind of trading / investment strategy over the last kind of week, and even longer actually?
I kind of agree with Nick concerning like the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And like you also have to remember that Bitcoin has constant inflows, whether it's from ETFs, big institutions, or even Michael Saylor, who was buying like 2-3 billion every week during the beginning of the year. While you compare it to Ethereum or any other altcoin, like the purpose of altcoins was purely for teams to like benefit, because teams won't benefit without a coin. So like you have Ethereum Foundation selling, Vitalik selling, like, or any other team. And the biggest example was probably Mantra, which I think like the team rugged.
I don't actually know like what the explanation was from the Mantra team. There's lots of discussions about market makers and maybe that can take us nicely to look into that now. Actually, let's pull up the chart, because that was some drama that we did see this week. I mean, oh my goodness,
that was a big coin going on too. That thing had what, a $4-5 billion market cap, and that's a Luna like event almost, not to the extent it was, but
6.4. No, yeah, it was over 6 billion.
Yeah, like that's a huge coin going down, and I don't really know what went on or anything. I didn't hold it or trade it, but it's pretty significant.
Mo, you were trading this a little bit, weren't you? You were like longing and shorting and scalp trading this, weren't you?
I didn't short, but after it dumped, like I longed a very small amount at 0.6, and I took profit around like 0.9.
Oh, okay. I mean, there was serious volatility here.
Yeah. It was decent, but like I don't think anybody will gain, like I don't think anybody will trust that coin or that team anymore. So yeah, this will eventually like go to zero.
No.
The interesting thing is, we say, maybe eventually it will go to zero, but I mean, I'm gonna just have a quick look at like what the market cap is. This is still trading at a 600 million and 1.2 billion FDV.
It's still bigger than Berachain. Right?
Yeah. I think I actually tweeted that myself. Like, let me see if I can find my tweet of it. Hold on. Own market cap at the time was 530 million. It's actually it's actually up a little bit from this. It's actually
Oh,
this
no.
was 53 cents. It's now 70 cents almost. So it's almost 700 million. And Bearer, unfortunately, is down even more from this point. So there's still more to go. Who knows which asset I was talking about? Yeah, crazy. And is this going to be the only one? I mean, I've got a few other tokens that remind me of Mantra a little bit that could end up having a similar fate. I don't know, but there are a
Story
few. Sorry, say again, Mo?
Story protocol.
No comment.
Or, I'll do that to them.
No
I
comment.
think
No
it's
comment.
interesting to talk about these where, we said the coin's completely down now. Like, who's going to trust this? And that kind of segues into all of the other altcoins in this market, right? Like, if you launch a token and your community trusts that if they buy this token and participate in your ecosystem and that token goes up, they came to your ecosystem to make money. And if that token goes down, all of a sudden you no longer like the ecosystem so much. And we've seen this with so many projects where I don't want to name any, but you're very excited about the ecosystem or the token, the project's all good. And then all of a sudden it's down 90% and it's no longer sexy, it's no longer good. And I think we can kind of go back to Smokey's post a little while ago talking about the fact that when people launch their tokens, it's not a solution, and it adds a lot of, say, stress onto your project and a lot of extra eyes that could potentially go each way. Where, like, if your token goes up, all of a sudden the tech's really good. If your token goes down, all of a sudden the tech's really bad. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like Define was thinking about launching a token in the past, but I think we kind of went against it for that reason, where, like, if your token just straight trends down, people start leaving your project and you no longer, generate the fees that you're maybe, generating. So I think a lot of these projects are, going to have to transition to more income generating models, opposed to just, relying on launching a token and then having a huge treasury to do whatever they want with, right? And need to kind of focus on being more lean and making more revenue to do things with.
Yeah, no, I agree with you big time on that one. I think I think one thing that's become a lot more apparent, I guess, in recent times has been like, and this was kind of always the case as well. But like once you have a token, you are somewhat attached to that, and so if the valuation is, let's say, low, subconsciously or psychologically, there is some sort of link there between what the valuation is and what people think about you and what the chart looks like as well. And you're absolutely right. Like when the price is going up, the tech automatically goes up as well overnight at times. That's kind of just sometimes how it feels. And probably during the AI agent season that we had in December, I think this really felt apparent, where everyone was an AI expert in December. And everyone thought AI was going to change crypto forever, as prices went into the billions for some of these different assets. And now at 99% down, there isn't even a single thing on the timeline about it anymore. Fair
It
point.
doesn't feel too good now. I would actually, because Codex, we obviously sell an API for on-chain data, and then we just launched an MCP, which is a pretty much a bridge for AI protocols and AI agents to hook up to our API and use our data that way. So I've been looking into it a lot recently, and I'm actually doing a pitch tomorrow for another project called Codex, but Codex with a 3, funny enough. But
I know those guys.
Yeah, super great team, awesome guys. But anyways, I was scouring through virtual charts, and holy crap, that is a ghost town now compared to what it was. Because if you guys, I don't know if you're too familiar with the numbers, but in the height of things, I think there's like thousands and thousands of agents getting launched every day. I think there was 15,000 agents in total that were launched. I'll let you guys take a guess at how many agents are getting launched today now. Just take a guess.
I would guess 50.
3.
No, dude. Yeah, it's there's like between 0 and 3 agents getting launched a day now. And at the height of things, they were making tens of thousands of dollars a day on trading fees. Now it's like $500 or something like that. Like it was an insane bubble, but that's not a means to an end. I think I'm bullish on what these things can do. Maybe not on the general chat bot that just goes into your comments and starts, pushing out random ChatGPT garbage. But maybe we see kind of a version 2 of these things start picking up, where what we hope personally is that a lot of these agents start taking on, like real-time market data and become, the KOLs of the space, and are able to start detecting scams a little bit better, and potentially, tracking stuff on chain a lot faster, like some of these better agents are, which, you could maybe possibly catch something like what happened with Mantra, where like, hey, like we have all this wallet activity from insiders and they're selling right now, like, hey, maybe this is a big thing. Like that can be really valuable for people that are following those things. And obviously there's so much activity and meme coin trading and whatnot, and so much money to be made there. If you're able to create an agent that is actually giving people an edge in that space, like that's huge for the everyday trader, right? Like so many people have their own bots for trading now, and they get very wealthy, but that's a very kind of concentrated group of people where if you were able to have something that is able to benefit a lot from having that data, it's quite a bit of value to be made there. So I'm quite excited about kind of the second wave of these things, see what people are able to create with them. And I think the Codex guys, the other Codex guys, we're calling the partnership Codex Squared, and seeing what they can do, and also what's happening on like Sophon. There's another protocol that we're working with called Access Protocol, which are building some really cool frameworks to create agents. So there's still a lot being built there, but obviously got a little bit ahead of itself. But I think there's some exciting stuff to happen there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think AI is here to impact pretty much every single sector, right? And especially crypto and trading and DeFi and finance as a whole, I should say. I was very fortunate that I got to meet the Codex team in person as well. So they're great guys as well. And I personally do believe when it comes to markets as well, there will be another wave of AI. I think we've had 2 main waves of AI so far when it comes to speculation. Anyway, we had this initial wave with the likes of Render, Fetch, BitTensor, and some of these other AI coins, and right at the beginning of this market cycle. And then we had obviously this second huge wave with the likes of virtuals, which we've got on screen, and just quickly did some charting, which does actually seem like it's at an interesting area now, and maybe is interesting to some of you traders. But also the likes of AI16Z, Mo, there's many of them that we covered as well, right? Cerebro and a bunch of these other tokens, which all went to billions and billions.
AI XBT.
AI XBT, of course. Is there going to be a third kind of cycle or third narrative of this? I mean, this is bad. I mean,
it's a brutal chart.
This is down 92% now. Oof, that is painful. Is there going to be a third wave of all of this AI stuff? I do believe so. I do think that there are really, really interesting AI protocols that are offering like really interesting tech. There's lots of VC-backed AI coins as well, and I'm sure they can push a narrative together that AI is coming back. Perhaps coinciding with like the next, I don't know, GPT-5 or GPT-6 or whichever one comes out. Maybe by then, like Google will have or Apple will have their AI intelligence, and that. I mean, they have it already, but maybe another product comes out, and then we get like a third wave of AI. I do think that is possible. And I don't think that whilst the AI coins are down now, I do think that there will be like some big wave of AI again.
Yeah, I think that kind of circles all the way back to where like, hey, this chart's down 92%, the tech's no longer good. But I follow this purple dude on Twitter, and honestly, like some of the stuff he puts out it's more useful than some of the other garbage people post on Twitter. So it's just like another human tweeting, but like actual market data. It's useful. I don't know if it's worth billions of dollars, but he's still here, and it's been interesting. I think people start maybe getting a little bit more interested in this stuff again when it's a little bit easier to create agents that are able to make you money. I think is kind of one of the things, like an easy framework that you can launch a agent with a strategy and whatever a day without being a developer, and it's able to make you X amount of return or able to trade for you and be profitable. Like stuff like that gets pretty exciting, where before it was simply just like a ChatGPT tweeter. Like it doesn't really offer that much value to a lot of people. So I think once it starts putting out a little bit more value, it might get a little more interesting again.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to like any of these altcoins right now, this is a question to both of you. Maybe Nick, you want to go first, and Mo, you can go after. What is exciting to you right now? Is it the AI coin still? Is there other altcoins, or is it just kind of being a bit defensive with perhaps Bitcoin and maybe some majors and stable coins, and waiting for the easy mode opportunities to come again to the market? And capital protect in this time?
I don't know who's going first, but I'm happy to take that on.
Go for it, Nick.
I'm pretty much fully hype right now. It's been an obvious outperformer in this market. It's making some pretty substantial amounts of money, and I'm looking at it essentially as BNB redone in a way that people are liking. It's taken the same playbook where you launch the perfect exchange, you're gaining a lot of users, volume, and eyes that way, and then you can start launching other products on top of that if you want. And it's been extremely well, and I'm seeing a lot of people create these, like, I think you might have seen Kevin share it in the group earlier, but it was like a Bitcoin / hype vault with shorting every other altcoin in the market.
Oh yes, I did see that. Yeah,
I could easily get behind that, and maybe now it's just like a crowd mentality to own hype, but it's definitely been an outlier in this bull market in terms of how it launched, the amount of fees, and it feels good to use. And now that they have hyper EVM as well, with some cool apps being built on there, I think it could do really well. And you're able to farm the EVM chain if you want to, and yeah, I don't know if there's everyone kind of knows what hype is now, but I don't know if a lot of people own it.
Yeah, interesting. It seemed to me like over the last couple of weeks that there was like this consensus CT trade, two assets, hype and Fartcoin. Both of them like massively outperforming, right? But it's like the ultimate barbell strategy. Maybe you've got Fartcoin and then you've got like a hype, this revenue generating machine, and both of them like really being darlings for CT overall. Mo, what's your opinion on hype? Like, I think all of us are big fans of Hyperliquid.
I do think that Hyperliquid is a very successful business, and like fading the hype coin is definitely a massive mistake. But I do have one question for you guys. What do you think happens to hype when the summer comes, or when the bull market comes, or like any season where the volume kicks down and Hyperliquid is generating way less fees, so that way they can't do as big of buybacks as they usually do? What do you think happens then?
Do you not think that we're in this environment already where the volumes have gone down, or like or do you think in summer it's going to go down even more? I mean, the dominance that Hyperliquid has over everyone is massive. Look, for reference, in the last 24 hours, I mean, we can even look at 7 days for a bit of a wider kind of time frame. If I zoom in a little bit, we'll be able to see this more clearly. Whoops, apologies. Maybe I need to zoom out. Okay, so for 7 days, Hyperliquid did 42.5 bill in volume. The second place was Jupiter, who did 6 bill. That's 8x difference. Between first and second place. That's huge. In fact, if I add up second, third, fourth, fifth, I go all the way down, I don't even think it adds up to 42 billion in total.
Yeah. It's just been absolute beast in terms of gaining market share across all these apps. And like, even if let's say the volume does go down and the fees go down, like, what kind of environment is that for every other coin, right? Are people just randomly going to speculate on some stuff? And if they randomly speculate on those things, how are they going to do it? Are they going to open up a long? Are they going to just buy spot? Is there going to be some kind of new ecosystem that it drives it to? But um, I don't really know. I think it's pretty safe in every environment. Obviously, if things are going up, there's tons of volume, tons of volatility. It earns more fees. If it's flat, it has an EVM chain which you can, with time probably do a lot more exciting things on. So, just like everything, I think it's going to have its ups and downs. But this right here, I shared in the chat, is a very interesting dashboard built by a HyperDash, and has a lot of like ticker analysis. But it also has a really interesting thing that I like to follow is the market share relative to Binance as well as Bybit, and that I've been watching pretty closely. I mean, as closely as you can. Obviously, within a week, monthly, it's a little bit more interesting, but it's getting up there. And like during the big dip, you saw it go up to as much as like 12.5%. So it's kind of bouncing around those ranges. And I think when I first looked at this, it was 2%. So it's gaining some market share. It's gaining it pretty fast to some of the big players.
One thing I find really interesting is, looking at the hyperliquid market share for individual assets, you can really see like which assets C2 really likes. The likes of Hype, of course, Fartcoin that we mentioned. I'm sure Popcat. I think I saw Bearer as well. Like the really kind of CT Maker. I mean, these are like assets that like CT really, really, really love. You can see this clearly here with like what's in the green versus what's in the red. Maybe Algorand. Like I wouldn't really expect CT to be on this coin, but maybe the guys on centralized exchanges are trading this a lot more. Well, they are. That's kind of what this data is showing us. So yeah, I find that really, really interesting. Even stuff like Go and SPX, certainly like more CT native.
Yeah, like I'm sure you should Fartcoin there, but like it's something like 60 or 70% longer. It's a little lower now, but like when you were talking about that like hype slash Fartcoin and Bitcoin barbell or whatever, like it was something like 60 or 70% of people were long. And it's crazy. And like it's all of anyone that's on chain now, like there's no reason to go to a centralized exchange and trade anymore, in my opinion. You can go to Hype and open up a long there if you want. And I don't really know how their points program's going now, but why would you not open it up in this exchange that works perfectly the same way that a centralized exchange works, and you get to farm an airdrop at the same time? Like that's obviously been their initial points program and how it became so successful, but it just makes a lot of sense for CT. And where was I going with this? But with I think one kind of bear case for them could be the kind of on ramp that centralized exchanges have. That's kind of how they've gained their moat, and I would love to see some kind of onboarding or onboarding system for Hype or Hype EVM where you can get people to whatever, bring money in from their bank or credit card or something like that, or just something that's not on chain. Because I don't know if you guys have friends outside of crypto, but like
it's hard to get them on without the on ramp. But absolutely, I completely agree with you.
It's so hard. And like I tried to explain to some of my friends how to like get over to Barachain and like farm this, and they were like, "This is fucking rocket science." Like you gotta like send money to one of your wallets, and then you gotta buy this coin, and then you have to bridge it over to that coin, and then you have to LP it, and then like if you want to swap it, and then you gotta bridge it back if you want. Like they were like, "Forget it. Like I'm not doing this. I'm just gonna open up my Phantom wallet, load money that way, and go trade a shitcoin." And I think that's why Solana's been so successful. It's with Phantom, it's essentially their like centralized exchange on ramp. Like it's been a beast. I think every ecosystem needs their Phantom.
Yeah, totally agree. I do think that we will see this with Hyperliquid. I think we've seen like the rise of the spot market, with ETH there as well. I know that there's a different team that's kind of working behind the scenes on that one as well. But yeah, I do think I think a natural next step would be to focus on stuff like that as well. I'm sure we'll see it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mo, any we talked about hype. Any specific odds on your side that are on your radar? I've pulled up the Barrow chart as well because I think all of us have some exposure on this side. But like, yeah, anything else that's kind of on your radar as well?
Uh, I do think like the only coins worth paying attention to right now are probably like Hyperliquid, Fartcoin, Bitcoin. Like you can pay attention to like other new altcoins such as Parachain, of course, but like you have to look at the mindshare and the volume kicking into these coins. And like I do think that most of the volume right now is currently flowing into Hyperliquid and Fartcoin.
Fair. So nothing else that you're particularly trading at the moment, like other than those assets.
I'm only trading like perps or options because like such such times are like perfect amount to capture volatility either
Mm,
in like long or short. Like you can capture a few percentages every day and you can add the leverage on top of that, so that gives you like three-figure returns almost every day. Like you can do that.
yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, makes sense. Bear is interesting now. I think it's been trading at this same 20-cent range for like the last day or so. Vol's really gone down on bearer price over the last few days, but over the last day, I should say. I'm intrigued to know where we go with this range bound situation. Are we going to go back to the range lows, which I think does look likely with this kind of TA pattern, you could say. I think we will probably will see something like this, or will maybe the market makers step in and will we kind of go back to the top of this range? I'm interested to see where we go from here, but I'm leaning more towards the bottom of this range, and then we'll see what the reaction really will be like here.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
think we can go to like probably to the low end of $3, especially if
Yeah.
Bitcoin goes back to like 82K or 81K.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I agree. I think it will be interesting to see what the reaction is like there. But yeah, I guess I think there are a few more interesting assets as well, other than the ones that you mentioned. Sure, like a lot of the volume right now is going to like specific assets. Bitcoin, of course. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Sol. I think Sol's been a little bit quiet recently, and I don't
It's
think
been
it
doing
looks.
well though.
Yeah, I don't think it looks that bad overall in the grand scheme of things. I mean,
Yeah.
let me uh let me zoom out on my chart here and we can kind of have a look.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think
bit
it's too
stronger
early.
than other alts.
Yeah.
I think it made a new all-time high against Ethereum.
Oh yes, it
Yeah.
did. Let's have a look at that. That's a good point.
I
Uh,
think like everything has though,
yeah, yeah, new
Oh
all time.
wow.
Yeah, this is
Yeah. I mean, it looks like with obviously with Define, we are the front end is essentially entirely to do with Solana. That's where all the velocity of trading happens as outside of perps. They just have a complete cornering of that market essentially, and it does look like volumes picked up a little bit in that space again. And with Pump AMM coming out, and then I don't know if you guys saw, but Radium actually just
yeah,
launched their own Pump fund. It has pretty much zero volume, but there's obviously a demand for this kind of product, and people have been chasing it forever to like find another pump fund and be able to have it on their chain and just have that kind of velocity of trading that happens. Like there's no other chain that you can go on and, open up whatever, a trade on a coin that's 5, 10, 15K market cap, or, we put X market cap in there and have it 5 to 10X within a day. Like it just doesn't really happen. And that's really exciting for people. It's hyper gambling essentially, and Solana's completely cornered that market. And it looks like when it picks up, obviously it's bounced a lot harder than other things. So it has a pretty good product market fit, similar to Hype, in my opinion. It's mostly to do with gambling, and
yeah.
people like the chain. Yeah, people use it. It's important.
Yeah, I agree with you that Sol's major use case has always been like hyper gambling, speculation with meme coins, especially. But there is something about Sol that I do like, and that is there are these like other experiments that are on Sol, and like I do think there is like a future where some of these will become like huge things, the
Yeah.
likes of Helium with the deepened mobile stuff, the likes of like Grass with the AI kind of computation stuff. There is a few of these other kind of pretty big, like you could argue $1 billion protocols based on like what their token prices are like that sit on Sol. And so I do think there's some value there, but I guess like ultimately the question is, what is the value of the L1 asset itself? Is it meant to
Yeah.
be like this, I don't know, community money, which is often used for speculation and stuff, or is there something deeper attached to revenue? I don't think it is. I think it's more like this community kind of money. And so when there is a narrative going for it, that's when you see, the price appreciation rather than like focusing on, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think it's a little bit hard for L1s to like be the revenue generating like
100%.
ratio kind of things that we often look at.
Yeah, I think it's just like you have all those apps on that chain because that's where like user activity is, and you can build anything on that chain if you want. Like it doesn't have to be a hyper gambling chain, and like other things can do very well there. People are going to continue to build there because that's where the volume is, that's where the users are, that's where all the liquidity is heading. And this similar case for hype, right? Like
Yeah.
you need mind share, you need liquidity and volume flowing through your protocol, or else it like what's the point of it, right? Like you're gonna have like endless amounts of chains launching with higher TPS and this exciting thing, but like who the heck's going to use this when there's a bazillion chains and there's just not enough users and volume to go around? Like you really need to gain the user and then, find out what to do with that.
Absolutely. We've got one. I want to. I'm a bit wary of the time, and I want to showcase Define to everyone. But just before we do that, we've got some questions from the audience here. Great questions, by the way. Great minds think alike. Absolutely. So the question is really thoughts on the Boyko unlock. I think this is referring to when we were showcasing the Bearer chart. And how do the Boyko unlocks affect our theory on price action? Mo, do you want to go first, then Nick, and then maybe I can add some my points at the end. What do you reckon? Let's talk about what do we think about these unlocks for Bearer? Mo?
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, all good.
So like, like people locked up a lot of money, like whether it's in Beta, whether it's in Ethereum or Bitcoin. They locked it like maybe three months ago for the Boyko program, and like these people are probably down like 20-30% on their Bitcoin and upwards of 40% maybe on their Ethereum. So I do think that these people might cause uh, a little bit of downside for Ethereum or Beta, just because it's like 2% of the entire supply. But overall, I think it's gonna be probably like the bottom for Beta. I do think so.
Fine. And I guess given that the FTV now is like 1.85 billion, 1% of that is, we're talking about $40 million of sell pressure now, or 2%, sorry, I should say, less than $40 million of sell pressure. I think when prices were much higher, like for example on day one, when we were at $15 a token, 7.5 billion FTV, that at that point it was 150, 200 million worth of sell pressure. At these prices, it's much less. Do we have enough buy pressure to absorb $40 million of sell pressure? I think we can absorb some of it. And so I don't necessarily think it's super bearish. I think everyone has known about this for a while, and I do think it's somewhat priced in to the chart anyway. Yeah, some people will want to recoup their losses though, right? And some people will just be like, look, I just want to exit markets. I've been locked up for 3 months. We've had all of this Trump stuff that's happened in the meantime as well, and all of this macro stuff as well. Actually, now is my time to get out. And, they may actually sell their Bitcoin, their ETH, maybe some of their other assets as well. They might do that. I think ultimately we will see a lot of the TVL leave. I don't think it's all going to stay, and I think the TVL that does stay is going to end up diluting the yields a lot. So those good yields that we have right now might not last forever. It will be interesting to see like the dynamic there, but yeah, I do think like at these prices, and especially if the price keeps going down, if we go down to $3, then we're talking about even less total sell pressure. So I'm not that worried about it anymore. I think everyone knows about boycott. Everyone knows exactly what day it's going to come, how much is coming. So I think there is, I'd say, mostly
Yeah.
priced in now. I don't know,
Yeah.
Nick, if you had any additional thoughts on that one too.
No, I think you guys nailed it pretty easily. Like, people have known about this for a while. People have been preparing for it for a while as well. And we've seen it over and over again where unlocks usually are not bullish, but mark some kind of bottom or at least close to a bottom. And then you have some things going up because like once we start getting to these $3 levels, we're at what, like the last round for Barra, like you're probably going to see some kind of buy pressure if people still want this asset. I think it just goes back to the kind of underlying problem is that Parachain needs to find a way for value to actually occur back into the Barra token instead of all these like BGT LSTs. People are just buying those instead of Barra. And we could probably talk about this for much longer, but I don't think anyone actually wants to own Barra. Like people just want to own like think of IBGT right now, like it's yielding what, like 250%. You don't have to pair it with anything. Like that seems like a no-brainer to me. And this is what everyone's been buying. You've seen it in the premium. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really that worried about unlocks. They've never ever like been an event where like, oh my god, it unlocked that day and everyone sold at the same time and it went down 50%. Like it just never happens. So where maybe some of that liquidity, like just due to the strength in other ecosystems like Solana and Hype, like you might see some of it leave to that, and that's fine because, like you said, if all of it stays and starts farming, then all the yields are going to get diluted, and that might cause bigger problems. So, yeah, I think it's kind of a nothing burger.
Yeah, fair. I want to just spend the last few minutes to just talk a little bit about the Defined app, and maybe Nick, you can talk us about. We've got a few hundred people who are watching us right now live. Maybe some of them haven't ever used Defined before, so maybe give us a little overview of what it is, how we can use it, like what we can use it for, etc. I've pulled up the IBGT chart on here as you were talking about it, but yeah, maybe it would be nice to hear from yourself as well.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome talking in a like Bearchain kind of specific group because we did a lot of BT around Bearchain, and a lot of Bearchain native people use Define as is because we had the test net and we were having some fun stuff happen around there. So like a lot of people joined really early, and as a result, we did a lot of like BD around there as well, and a lot of people, the network effect kind of kicked in, and I've seen a lot of people within Bearchain using Define, which is really awesome. But since the testnet, we've added so many things since then because, as I was telling you kind of before this, is we're at heart an infrastructure company. We actually built Define.fi originally as just a showcase for our API and our data. So like when I'm talking to companies that want to use our API, I say, hey, go look at Define.fi. You can see all of the chains that we have, all of the AMMs that we index. You can see our speeds, and you can also see our API at work, which is our Codex brand, which is our B2B brand, because everything on Define.fi is built with the Codex API. So funny enough, like the the business model kind of works where like the best use case of our API is a competitor to Define. It's really funky, but it works really well. So like people can come on Defined and do a couple of things. We have a lot of infrastructure kind of built around it. Main thing is obviously charting and looking up tokens. When I look at Bearchain, for example, like what I really love doing is just going to the network like you have, but then you can also filter by volume if you just click the volume, not along the bar there near market cap. Yeah, if you click that, you can just get a descending thing of volume on bear chain, and you can see everything that's getting volume, which we know is quite important. And I think this is all you really need to look at for bear chain, in my opinion. But maybe if you're a little bit more of a day trader and really hit the trenches in Solana, like there's some pretty cool things you can do. We have some filters which you can use to filter for pretty much anything you want, like volume, age, market cap. You can apply any of these, and then you'll have specific tokens show up how you'd like them. More importantly, what we've really been working on recently is wallet analytics and the ability to kind of gain signal around that. So I think this is live now as under traders. So if you click trader, this is essentially what we've built recently, where we've indexed every wallet on specific chains. So you can do things like now filter for the chain that you want to be on, and then you can filter for all of those metrics as well. So like things like volume, their average swap, the P&L that they've made, P&L per trade, P&L percentage, like just tons of data. And we're trying to turn this into kind of a value add for the platform where people can come on and use this to become a better trader. And we're going to do some really cool stuff around wallet labeling, where we essentially give each wallet a kind of a score which puts them into a certain category. So unfortunately, with our industry, like 90% of these wallets are actually scammers. So the number one thing that we're doing right now is actually just filtering out all the scammers. So I'm sure you guys have tried to copy trade before, where you find this wallet and they're making all this money, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna stick on the wallet tracker. I'm gonna buy whatever they buy, and then next thing you know, you buy it and they sell like 3 seconds later, and it goes down 50%.
Yeah.
Everyone has a story, so it's not really something you can do that easily. So we're trying to find a way where you can, well, we found a way essentially where you can rate these wallets based on a bunch of metrics, like profit made and like the age of the wallet, like the how long they've held the token, how many tokens they've held in certain timeframes and everything. And eventually you'll start seeing this page get populated with things like, this is high likely or likely a scammer. This is likely someone that you can buy the token with and hold for a week and make a profit. Like there'll be certain kind of metrics. So we actually put it in there with risk score. So you can see that a legitimate wallet which you can follow, and then like it'll show you a scammer. And this is kind of based off of our metrics that we've put in place. So that will become really useful over the days, and people can actually start finding wallets that give them signal instead of just getting completely wrecked. And then you can do stuff like that, where you can pair it with our wallet tracker, which we have on Telegram, and hopefully start making some money. That's the idea.
Nice.
Because we put trading into this platform and we make fees off of that. And I think we're fine because we make our money through selling data, and we're kind of have this freedom to do really cool things that one benefit users of Defined, and hopefully we gain users that way and start getting fees. And then on the other side of that as well, like really cool features on Define also benefit users of our API. So they kind of work really cool together like that, where the better we make Define, the better the better data that we offer, the better we're able to make Define. So they yin and yang each other, and it's kind of this really funky combo that works.
Super cool. Yeah, thank you for that explanation and walkthrough as well. Like, I didn't realize that you had this wallet feature or trader feature, sorry, on the side.
Yeah, it's pretty new, and it's being worked on pretty heavily right now. Like we're actually putting a lot of resources into it, making it as best as you can, because we believe that there's a lot of value to be had with this for specifically on-chain traders. But obviously, there's tons of other features on the platform that people can come and use, like the filtering for volume, like I showed you for Bera. But yeah, and then we're doing a lot of stuff around like detecting scams right now too, because I'm sure most of everyone here has traded on Solana before, where like 99 bazillion% of the things that you buy on Solana are like scams most of the time. So being able to determine what's a scam and what's not is very, very valuable for traders. So we're going to be doing stuff with this wallet analytics, like kind of factoring in stuff like what's the average age of a wallet that holds this token, or what's the median of the age of these wallets that hold these tokens. And with that, you're able to kind of determine if like a token's more likely a scam or not. So yeah, lots of cool stuff going on there, and always happy to chat about it if anyone wants to shoot me a DM.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that, Nick. Yeah, I think everyone who's listening, definitely go and check out Define. You can play around with some of those features there, and I'm sure you might find some interesting stuff that can help your trading, especially on-chain trading. And if you're a builder, maybe you want to use Codex as well, definitely get in touch with Nick. Give him a follow anyway. Yeah, I think last couple of things that I'll mention before we kind of finish things off. You can trade your options on IVX right now. You've got a variety of options that you can choose from: Bitcoin, ETH, Bera. And so, yeah, play around with them. You can get, of course, at times crazy leverage here. Look at that, 171 notional x notional leverage on your Bitcoin right now, just because of the power of options. One of the great things as well is today we actually have, maybe I can show you on screen. Give me a second, guys. We actually have the IVX mobile app. I don't know if my camera is gonna focus on it, but you can see there's a purple icon there.
Watch,
Yeah.
press on it.
Press on it. Okay, I'm gonna press on it. It's gonna take you directly to the app, and you can trade, as you can see.
Let's go.
Nice, I love it. I love the up
Yep.
and down. It's I don't know if you guys used it back in the day, but on Arbitrum, I think it's called Buffer Finance. And
Yeah.
it's super awesome. Where you can just like bet up and down essentially, and it's great.
Yeah.
I had tons of fun with that app.
I know that app very well. Probably not for the best reason, actually, because I ended up losing all of my money on it. But yeah, I think as far as I'm aware, I think they are shifting over to Hyperliquid, which is interesting as well.
Interesting.
But yeah, you can play around with the app, whether you're out shopping, whether you're on the toilet, whether you're on the plane. You can now trade your options on the go, which I think is fantastic. And of course, in due time, there'll be many, many more things as well. This is just a very beginning. There's still lots of improvements that we need to make to the app as well. So we'll take all of your feedback. Lots of building stuff to do. The devs are hard at work. But in the meantime, you can have some fun with some of these options. So yeah, I think with that, let's wrap things up. Nick, it was a real pleasure having you on the show today. Really, really enjoyed it. I think it was good to hear like your takes of the market and like kind of some of the things that are interesting you, especially with your thesis on hype as well. I thought that was very, very, very good to hear. And also like some of the stuff that you shared with Define. So it's super, super awesome. Wishing you the best of luck, and definitely would love to have you on the show again sometime soon.
I appreciate it, guys. It's been a pleasure, and IVX is awesome. Really excited to see what you guys build and how you succeed there. Because it's a super clean platform. I've used it a bunch, and I'll continue using it. So Godspeed.
Job's not done though. We've got a lot more coming, a lot of ideas cooking. So yeah, a lot of stuff still to come. But yeah, with that, honestly, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I know we did this show on Thursday rather than Friday, but that's because I'm away tomorrow. We'll be back again hopefully next week, or if not the week after, again back with the weekly vol, where we'll be talking about all things markets. To those of you who tuned in, have a lovely weekend. I won't be around tomorrow, but have a lovely weekend, and yeah, we'll catch you around next time. Take care, guys.